Hey guys, today you're going to learn how to solve the V cube 5 or the 5x5x5 Rubik's cube. So before we start, you need to be able to solve a regular 3x3x3 Rubik's cube, and it is recommended that you learn how to solve a 4x4x4 Rubik's cube, although you don't totally need to, but it would be better for understanding purposes because it's pretty much the same thing going on. So there will be annotations or links all over the screen right now to show all the parts of the 3x3 and the 4x4. And this is going to be part 1. So let's get this cube scrambled. Okay, so in scrambling the V cube 5, it's important to scramble the inside layers and the outside layers. Okay, so just like the 4x4, we're going to be starting with one center, which in this case I guess we'll do the white center, and then we'll do the opposite center, so the yellow, and then we'll solve the 4 remaining centers and move on to the groups of 3 edges and fix the parity errors, and we'll solve it as a 3x3. Okay, what makes this different than a 4x4 is there is an established center. If you look at the 4x4, there's no established center. The 5x5, there is one on each side. It cannot move. So that means, in some ways, this cube is going to be easier to solve than this cube. It will take longer to solve, but in some ways it's quite a bit easier to solve. There's only 2 parity algorithms as opposed to 5 parity cases and 4 algorithms for this one. So in some ways this cube is easier to solve. So don't judge it by looks that it's going to be a terrible disaster to try and solve, because it's really not. So let's move on to the first center. There's a couple of different ways you can solve it. You can make 3x1 bars, such as, let's see if I can do one for you, such as this. You can connect them and move them up to the top after you solve these 2. So here, let me show you really fast. You won't be able to see what I'm doing. So you can do something like that when you make a bunch of 3x1 bars and put them up. Or you can make 2x1 bars and connect them like that, and then put another one there and then a 3x1 there. Or you can solve it just like the first layer of a 3x3. You make a cross and then you solve the corners just like you would. It's a little bit harder to understand if you do it this way, but the first center is pretty intuitive. There's not many algorithms that I can help you with, but so go ahead and solve it. Go ahead and solve the first center any way you want to, by making 3x1 bars or whatever. 3x1 bars is probably the quickest for the first center because you don't need to worry about messing anything else up. So that is probably what I would recommend for the first center. The second center, I would probably also recommend that. So you're going to want to go on the bottom and look. You're going to want this middle one first. Looks like we already have one in place. Should be pretty easy. Here's another one right here. So we're going to move that up to there just by doing that. But that will move this out of the way. So what you want to do basically here is just make it so it faces the other way and then bring it back down. So then you don't mess anything up there and you still have the 3x1 there. Go ahead and continue making 3x1 bars. Once again, I can't really show you much when it comes to this. So there's another 3x1 bar. And then you can also use that algorithm that I showed you on the 4x4 tutorial, the R star 2U R prime star, in order to fix any mistakes that occur like this. So then connect the last one and make sure it's lined up like this so it matches up with that, and do the L prime star 2U L star, and then that should solve your first two centers. So what I would do if I were you is mix it up again and get super familiar with the first center, and then flip it over and get super familiar with the second center, because that is going to increase your time and it will help you in the long run, even though it might take a little bit more time. Alright, but it'll be worth it. So thanks for watching, guys, and don't stop now. Part 2 right there.